Hi, all. My name is Rebecca, and my presentation is on women in job promotions. So I chose this topic in kind of a way of learning how to get a job in the real world. I think a lot of the things that I've learned in researching this can apply when getting your own jobs, whether it's self-promoting or just being able to network with other people. And so I thought this topic was really interesting and looking more into that. So the outline of the presentation, looking at the main topics of what I'm going to be talking about, is first off the stages of promotion. What does that look like? High versus low ceiling jobs, promotion factors, fairness and job satisfaction, self promotion, glass ceilings and dead ends, and the IM, which is the impression management kind of theory. So to start off, I think it's important to look at how does a promotion come about. It's not every day that you are sitting at work and your boss comes with a letter saying you got promoted or you're going to move up to another floor. You can add on a title to your name kind of thing. There's a lot of things that come into play. So the first step is productivity, so being productive to get the employer's attention. For example, in my internship right now, that's something that not to be like self promoting or anything, but that's something I've been known for in my department is being very productive. I will be given a project to do and I'll get it done as quickly as I can while still doing a good job, putting it in the right folder at the end and going to my supervisor. I would tell her that I'm done and she'd be like, wow, that was really fast. Um, and so being productive with your time, not just sitting at your desk playing on your phone, um, that speaks volumes to your supervisor, your director, your manager, anyone like that. The next step, so step two or stage two, is training. So gaining the right skills to take on more responsibilities. I'm going to use the event planning world, for example, again. In event planning, event planners who go more into corporate meeting events can get what's called a CMP, which is your Certified Meeting Professional Certificate. It's a really intense exam, a lot of qualifications to even take it. But that's gaining more skills so that when that promotion opportunity comes, you can tell that employer that, hey, I'm qualified, I have taken this exam, I've learned the skills, I've gained the right kind of knowledge that I need to take on more responsibilities. And then stage three is the A or B job. So after the first two stages, stage three kind of splits into two ways of how the promotion process can go. So the A job is you get the promotion, you get a higher salary, you get to change your desk if you can, or you get more perks. Or the B job is you keep your same job. So even though there's three steps to the third stage, it does split into whether you get the job or not. So I think it's really important to start off by talking about high ceiling versus low ceiling jobs, because this is something that as we're looking for jobs come graduation, this will be really important if you are someone who like I want to like be able to move up in a company and have more possibilities. This one, and then when we talk about glass ceilings versus dead ends, is also very important. So for high ceilings, there are continual tiers before being in the higher ladder. So from the low ceiling, where there's fewer possibilities from job advancement or for job advancement opportunities, if you move from the lower ceiling job up to the higher ceiling job, there are still tiers that you have to walk through before even being considered in the higher ladder. So even though you moved out, you thankfully were able to move from the lower ceiling job, there is still work to be done. But you're still able to advance in the high ceiling job rather than the low ceiling job where there is very little movement in that. So next, talking about promotion factors. Oops, I watched this one off. So promotion factors kind of depend on the shape and composition of the organization. Looking at your department, if you are in a department where there isn't a lot of growth, there's probably not going to be promotions. I kind of think of like a retail store. The highest you would go in a retail store would be manager, and that's it. You can't go anything further. Where in like a business organization, if you're in the financial world, being a financial partner, financial professional, a field leader, field development leader, anything like that, there is still room for growth. You can move to like a senior level, a director, a board of directors. an executive board, maybe even the CEO of a company one day. So it just depends on the organization where that um, kind of shape and composition of promotions is held. The other thing is just your individual management practices. How do you work as an individual and as a team is also a big factor, as well as kind of in relation to step one or stage one of the promotion process. The past performance is a big thing too, because supervisors can see and view your past performance as what a potential promotion could lead to. So if you're for example, if you're a slow employee, that may be perceived as having limited future potential. There is a difference in how your past performance could shape your future performance. So the next is fairness and job satisfaction. So in a study that I read, um, they did a research on kind of a research study on how women view fairness and job satisfaction in the workplace. And one thing they found was that women actually have a lower expectation of their pay and have lower standards. And so you actually in the job process won't find out your kind of pay until stage 3 when you get the A job. And for women, this kind of pairs into the second point of gender stereotypes. For women, we are kind of now at that position where we think that men are the breadwinners, that they have a higher pay, and we're used to that. And because of this idea that men are the breadwinners, women have lower standards and just compare their pay salary to other women rather than comparing their pay salary to men. And so that's the difference between the two. And with any like fairness and job satisfaction, it's important to realize in the workplace that skills and abilities do come into play for an individual's promotion. And I think in the workplace, and especially while reading this study, it was really obvious that people understand that if they are not a good fit for the job, they're not going to get it. Because there's always people that are going to be a little bit better in certain skills and abilities than you are. And so understanding that, and so their research found that both men and women saw it fair and kind of an equal playing field when it came to skills and abilities when it came to promotions. And going along with promotions, self-promotion was a big thing when it came to kind of showing off yourself. And this happens a lot when you begin to interview for jobs. The interview process is basically made for you to self-promote yourself. And so I know that I hate talking about myself. I do not like telling people that like, hey, I'm good at this and this and this, because I feel like I'm very like self-centered, and that's not what self-promotion is, and that's not what that's meant to be for, is to just be super self-centered and tell why you're super great, but to just say like, hey, this is what I'm really good at and I can help your company. So a quote from Winkler, which is the study that I read: self-promotion behavior is easier for men than for most women and may be better received by others if it comes from men. And I think a lot of that again can compare to gender stereotypes of being assertive versus confidence and confidence versus bossy. Um, for men, if and women, like say you were to like say I'm really great at this, someone might say, if like a woman said that, they're being super self-centered or kind of bossy, or if a man said that, they would be like, oh, like that's really great, you're super talented. And that's just the way that society is wired too. So self-promotion can be a tricky thing depending on like who you're talking to, but it's so good because it also is going to get you far in the job world, especially with networking. That's what your resume is for, is to promote your skills and abilities. Like put everything that you can on there while still making it clean and professional, because that's a great way to promote yourself. So, like I said earlier, with the high ceilings and low ceilings, this is also a very similar idea of glass ceilings versus dead end ceilings. And this will kind of play into the next theory, because this is really kind of the foundation of this entire presentation, is the difference in growth in jobs that women are in. So glass ceilings prevent women from higher level jobs because they have higher standards or higher qualifications for the jobs that women don't often reach. And so if you kind of think of this idea of like a glass ceiling above you, like you could see the job, like you can see this promotion, but there's a barrier between you and the promotion, which is that glass ceiling, which equals the higher qualifications that you can't actually get the job because you can't get past that glass. Um, just to give you a visual. And the dead ends is women are in jobs that offer fewer opportunities for promotions. So you're in a job, great, but it doesn't lead anywhere. Like it's a complete dead end. I kind of think of again like in retail, like you're in retail, you're a sales associate, then you're a team lead, and then you're a manager, and that's kind of it. Like that's all you can in that like store. Yes, you could go to their corporate office and continue on, but you probably won't go any higher than a manager. Which leads us to our last point of impression management, or IM. So I thought this was really interesting because I think it can really play into our current chapter in life of like some of us are starting to look for jobs with graduating in December. And so it's really important to take into consideration IM or impression management when looking for a job because even though this is for promotions, it also could work for jobs too. So IM is the genuine and substantial talents and commitment in the careers of female and male managers seeking promotions. So basically, kind of again like the whole idea of self promotion. So for women in IM, like I talked about with how I didn't like to talk about myself and impress others with how good I am. Women seem to prefer to rely on extra high performance and commitment for visibility to their seniors rather than networking, ingratiation, and self promotion strategies used more by men. And I've seen this a lot. I think that in my own life, I have really gone the extra lengths to like do extra things and to be more committed and to show that I can do a job rather than self promoting myself and my abilities and networking with other people to get a job. And that's something like even as a student going into career and calling, they said you need to network, and I was like, I don't like that. I don't like talking to people and telling them, hey, I'm really great. But even if it's just like an informational interview, and the idea of first impression is a really really good tactic to learn. And the last thing is just men versus women in the impression management theory is women focus on what is fair and men play to win. That's just the gender stereotypes of society right now, and so that is kind of all I have for you guys. I hope that you enjoyed this really quick presentation. I know there's a lot of information, but just keep in mind to like don't be afraid to tell people how good you are. Network with those who are above in like the higher ceiling jobs and um, who are above the glass ceiling because that will get you far in life. So thanks, guys.